Somewhere along the way, staying slim turned into something that supposedly requires a gym membership, a meal prep spreadsheet, and enough willpower to say no to bread for the rest of your life. But for most of human history, across a huge number of different cultures, people stayed lean their entire lives without any of that. No fitness trackers, no calorie counting apps, no HIIT classes. They just had a handful of quiet, everyday habits baked into normal life. And it turns out modern science actually backs up why those habits worked. Here are 5 of them. The first is a practice sometimes summed up as eating until you're about 80% full instead of eating until you're stuffed. Historically common in parts of Okinawa and other regions with notably long, lean lifespans. This isn't a restrictive diet rule. It's just a habit of stopping a little before you feel completely done. And the science behind why this works comes down to a simple timing problem in your body. The signal that tells your brain you're full, driven largely by hormones like leptin and stretch receptors in your stomach, takes around 15 to 20 minutes to fully register after you've actually eaten enough. If you eat until you feel 100% full in the moment, you've usually already eaten past what your body actually needed, because that fullness signal hasn't caught up yet. Stopping at 80% gives your body the time it needs to catch up to reality instead of overshooting it. The second is walking after meals, a habit still deeply built into daily life in a lot of Mediterranean and Latin American cultures. Often just a short, unhurried stroll rather than any kind of workout. The mechanism here is actually really well studied. When you eat, your blood sugar rises as carbohydrates get broken down and absorbed. And your muscles are one of the biggest consumers of that glucose. Light movement after eating, even just 10 to 15 minutes of walking, causes your muscles to pull in more glucose directly from your bloodstream without needing as much insulin to do it, which blunts the blood sugar spike you'd otherwise get from sitting still after a meal. Over time, smaller blood sugar spikes are linked to better long-term metabolic health and easier weight management, without a single minute spent at a gym. The third is eating the bulk of your calories earlier in the day rather than loading up at night. A pattern common in a lot of traditional agricultural societies where the biggest meal happened around midday and evenings were comparatively light. This lines up with your circadian rhythm, the internal clock that regulates far more than just sleep. Your insulin sensitivity, meaning how efficiently your body processes carbohydrates, is measurably higher earlier in the day and gradually declines as the day goes on. That means identical meals are processed differently depending on when you eat them. And research on time-restricted and early calorie-loaded eating patterns has repeatedly shown better metabolic outcomes when more calories are shifted earlier rather than concentrated late at night. The fourth is slower, more unhurried, often multi-course eating. Still common in a lot of traditional meal cultures where eating quickly was actually considered a little rude. This connects back to that same fullness signal delay from the first habit, but from a different angle. Eating slowly simply gives your body more real time to catch up to your actual intake before you've had the chance to eat past it. Research comparing fast versus slow eaters consistently shows that people who eat more slowly tend to consume meaningfully fewer total calories per meal. Not because they're restricting anything, but because their body's own signals actually have a chance to do their job before the meal is already over. The fifth is something that wasn't really a conscious habit at all historically. It was just the food environment. Minimal exposure to ultra-processed, calorie-dense, low-fiber food, simply because that kind of food didn't widely exist yet. Traditional diets across most cultures were built around whole grains, vegetables, legumes, and unprocessed proteins, all of which are naturally higher in fiber and take longer to digest. That combination keeps blood sugar more stable and keeps you feeling full for longer per calorie consumed, compared to the engineered combination of sugar, refined carbohydrates, and fat found in a lot of modern processed food, which is specifically formulated to be easy to overeat. So here's the actual takeaway underneath all 5 of these. None of this is really about discipline or willpower in the way modern diet culture likes to frame it. These were just default behaviors baked into ordinary daily life for most of human history. Quiet habits around timing, pacing, and food environment that modern convenience has slowly stripped away, replaced with processed food designed to bypass your fullness signals entirely. Meals eaten quickly at a desk, and most of your calories showing up late at night in front of a screen. You don't need a gym membership to bring any of these back. You just need to eat a little slower. Stop a little before you're stuffed. Take a short walk after dinner. Shift a bit more of your food earlier in the day. And lean toward whole, minimally processed food when you can. None of it requires perfection. And all of it is just quietly getting back to how humans mostly ate for the vast majority of history.